Well, I just beat 60 stages, 40,000 power below what it should be. I got a really exciting video for you guys today. We're going to be going over the meta best team in the game, at least for earlier to mid game progression, especially if you have a level deficit. So if you're like 20, 30 levels below and you're struggling in story mode or AFK stages, which is where this team is mainly used, then this is going to help you a ton. I know a lot of videos have covered this already, but I figured I would do my own take and go a bit more in depth and kind of explain it. And then I'm also going to push my AFK levels because I've been so busy with making YouTube videos that I haven't really had time to play the game. So this is my excuse to play it, basically. But anyways, just to get into it, this is the team that we will be using. I will explain some variations you could use and some other things. I can't use one of the variations because I don't have the hero, but I will still tell you guys about it. But this is the team. We got Cecilia as a main DPS, and then we have 3 supports. The best ones being Rowan, Smokey, and Coco. And then we have a tank. So the tank I'm using is Entendre, and she's pretty good, but there are some other options. And let's just get into it right now, explain why it is good. So the reason why this team is so good, partially, is because of its low investment cost. Ignore the fact that my levels are pretty high and like my gear is pretty decent, because I've been playing for 2 weeks on and off whenever I have time, so I'm pretty far ahead, but this will still help you no matter where you are as long as you have heroes. So first of all, Cecilia. As I was saying, the investment cost is not very high because apart from Cecilia, who you get for free in your first 10 pull, and you're basically guaranteed to get, you don't really need anyone else to be leveled. Obviously, you want Cecilia as high as you can. Mine is mythic. It does not matter. You could use a base one if you want. You just won't get as far. But Cecilia is our main DPS. We only really have one DPS in this team. Basically, what Cecilia does, we all have her. We all know what she does. Is she basically summons someone. They kind of stun everyone. And then whenever you ult after that, you buff whatever the summon is called. Mr. Carlisle. I've never read that before. But yeah, so she summons that, and then when you use it again after it's already summoned, it'll heal it and then constantly be grabbing everyone and stunning them. It's really good. She also increases her own attack speed, which is actually a really good stat in this game. She does a lot of damage, and she also doesn't move, which helps a lot with her survivability, or at least she doesn't move very much because her range is very long. Moving on though, we go to the supports. First off is Smokey. Smokey is probably the best starter healer in my opinion. It does depend because they're all good, but Smokey is one of 3 healers that you get in your first 30 pulls. I got Hewen, whatever. I got her, but then I got Smokey later, and Smokey is so good. It's unbelievable. What he does basically is his ultimate is healing, so he heals a decent amount. It's not the most amount, but it is pretty good, and we have other supports to make up the slight healing loss he's losing, aside from not using someone like Hewen, for example. Basically, use the ult, and then it heals everyone. He also increases allies' attack, which is insanely impactful. It's so good. And then he also heals. So that's the main gist. You usually just use him for both attack increase and also recovering energy. His one downside is he doesn't cover the entire field, and I guess the second downside is also he can get interrupted very fast. If he gets hit, he won't ult for a little while, and that can be very annoying, but for the most part it's okay. And then we move on to debatably one of the main core units for this team, and that is Rowan, another one of the first that you get in their first 30 pulls. His main use, his primary use, is this. So his ult, basically, he goes in his sack or whatever, and then he gives everyone else energy. And it's a lot of energy. So that's why we have him. Basically, the core of this team is you're using Rowan. He gives energy to everyone. Smokey then does the attack increase. The next support we're going to talk about also increases attack. We have a tank, which I will get to some options in a minute, to block in order to get Rowan's ult, which will then trigger everyone else's ult. And then Cecilia ults, and you win. That's basically it. The second you get Cecilia ult, there's really a very, very low chance you'll ever lose. So the main thing is just keeping your tank alive until then. That's why we have the supports, and that's why we have Rowan, to make it so that the time we have to wait is shorter than it would be usually. So I couldn't make this team without Rowan. You can make a variation and you could swap him out obviously, but it's not at all the same. He also will heal people who are low HP, but his healing is a bit conditional. It works when you're using other healers, but as a raw healer himself, he's not very good. But he's very good paired with other supports. Moving on to the next support is debatably the best A tier in the game, if not like a top 3 maybe. I don't know, he's very good. Or she, I don't know. But we got Coco. So you'll notice 3 of these units are going to be Maulers, because Maulers are like the best faction in the game right now. Which is great, because in AFK Arena they were complete garbage, so I'm really glad they actually made them good. But we got Coco. So Coco basically is damage reduction, increases stats, and recovers a bit of HP, you know how that goes. And she also, she, whatever, also inflicts debuffs and does a decent amount of damage. She won't really be doing a lot of damage, I'll just call them a she, because it's the easiest, and that's what my brain is defaulting to. But basically, damage reduction and buffs to stats equals more damage and more survivability, which is the main core. Because once again, CCO is amazing. She does fall off around 600, and so does this team in AFK levels. But that'll take you like a month to get to anyways, so it's not a big deal. And then we get to the tanks. I will be using Entendre, because it is my highest level tank, and it is the one I have. Entendre is an amazing tank in this game. One of the better A tiers for sure, even though a lot of the A tiers are good. And she basically, to sum it up, she has certain CC, she hits people away. She also has a shield on her ult, which will make it so that she lives a lot longer. And it's pretty low on the rage cost. I think that's what I'm going to call it. It's energy, but I'm used to Watcher Realms, which uses rage. And then she also gives another ally and herself a shield. So she gives shield, she gives CC, she reduces attack. She's great. She increases max HP with this, but that is something you need to get the legendary for, not important. But Entendre is amazing. Some other variations I will get into later is, first of all, instead of Entendre, you could use a different tank like Brutus. Brutus is really good. You just need 1 copy. He's not traditionally a tank, but the reason why he's really good for this team specifically is for this ability here. So he's immune to the first time he's about to die, and he doesn't take any damage. So basically, you put him in, he gets basically dead immediately because he's not that tanky, and then he lives for a while. I'm not sure how long it lasts because I don't have him personally, but he will live forever. So if you're on Tundra, for example, or your Thoran, who is someone else who could use, dies, you could just swap them out for a Brutus, and then Brutus might live long enough for CCO to build up, you know, Rowan give everyone rage, and then everyone on the enemy team to die. So that's a very useful thing to do. And some other things you could do is you could use Vala. Vala is really good for those fights where the people in the back line are incredibly powerful and cause a lot of issues, like lots of damage or healing too much. And you could just use Vala, she'll kill them off the bat. You could swap out someone like Coco, for example. I think that's the most simple one to swap out, because you need Smokey for the attack increase and the healing, and you need CCF for damage and stuff. So I do think you could swap out Coco first on this team. So there's a lot of ways you could mix this up. My roster is not too crazy, so I can't show everyone, but we're just going to get into the AFK levels, and I'm going to show it. I'm going to explain maybe 1 or 2 fights here for you guys, and some general placements, even though the placements is probably my weakest part of this game. And then we're going to go into how long I can actually push. So first of all, generally you want to run the attack speed here, because you don't get a third one for so long that I think you could just say the attack speed one, because by the time you unlock them all, you probably will outgrow this team, even though it's really good. And some general things are, if Entendre is starting to die, I like to put everyone a bit further back. You want to have CC on the back for the attack speed boost, because the more attack speed equals more attacks equals more energy gain, which means faster ult. And the main goal is to get CC ult off as fast as possible without dying. So yeah. And then I like to have Smokey kind of in the front section, because I'm not 100% sure how he moves yet. And we just want him to be able to heal the tank, because once again, the name of the game is stalling. I will move Entendre back if I need to, but for the most part, we'll be doing this. And then I'll just be auto-fighting. And we'll see how long this goes. And yeah. So let's see. First of all, Entendre got pushed the F back, so now everyone's taking a lot of damage. But Rowan's coming in clutch, giving everyone ults. Smokey doesn't have his ult, which kind of sucks. But as you can see, Cecil immediately ults, wins, and that's GG. Obviously, my team is overqualified for where I am, just because I have not fought AFK levels in like 4 days. So, whoops. But as you can see, this is just kind of the general gist. You know, Entendre ults first, and then Coco ults, gives everyone the ults. Entendre lives, obviously, because she has so much support. And then Cecil is the GOAT. Cecil does so much damage. Let's look at the stats real quick. As you can see, Cecil is amazing. And if we go to the replay thing, the last thing I will show before I show like kind of a sped up version of just pushing these is in the records. If you actually look, everyone has insanely low BP. My BP is like 40,000 higher, right? But every single team you will ever see in the replay system for the early like 500 to like 800 levels is going to have this team or variations of this team. Obviously you could look, but look, we have Cecil doing insane amounts of damage at the exact same comp I'm using, but to a lower degree because obviously less time played. And then over here, we have the same general gist. Over here, we have the exact same thing. So every single team you're looking at here basically will be like that, or you'll get teams like this, which obviously not sustainable, and all of that fun stuff. So if we go to like someone who just be it like a normal way, basically you need to be similar to the BP. But as you can see, BP is very low right here, and they're all using the same team, which is the one I showed you today. So let me just push this forward and let's see how far we get. This ran for an hour. Let's just skip to the end. I'm not doing a montage of this. Okay, well, it just ended and I went up 60 stages, just straight auto from then. I'm not 100% sure why I lost. If I look, it looks like we did a lot of damage, but they just did better because double Rowan's kind of nutty. So I think what we're gonna do after maybe I'll pull these on the video after, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in, I'm gonna kind of explain the process in fixing this, and then we're gonna go from there. So first of all, what I'm noticing here is Cecil does insane damage. So I'm gonna do what I said earlier, and I'm going to place Vala in a way. I'm gonna keep Cecil at the speed boost, but I'm gonna place Vala, and then we're going to see how well this goes. Obviously, it's hit or miss because we are still taking quite a bit of damage. But I'm hoping as long as we get Vala to kind of kill Cecil, or at least keep her stunned for long enough where she can't do anything, then we should be good. My Vala obviously is mythic. I don't recommend pulling for her, but I just love Vala. She's mommy, honestly. So that's why I pulled for her until mythic, and I figured it was guaranteed, so why not go for it? Anyways, as you can see, we win just because we isolated the main threat and then we adjusted accordingly. So that's all you got to do. Just keep grinding away, and I'll be right back. Just pretend the next 30 stages are sped up. I'm not editing that again, okay? It takes forever. All right, so we lost again, and that's it. That's a-okay. But as you can see, just with Vala, we pushed so much further. And now, once again, we're gonna do something similar. So as you can see, main issues obviously were Leica and Nero. So all you gotta do really is, well, first of all, let's claim this. All we gotta do is we gotta I'm so bad at menuing. No, get away, get away. That's not a bad deal, by the way. But anyways, now we go in, and as you can see, we are 40k BP below where we should be. Is it called BP? I don't know. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna dissect what's going wrong here once again, and we're just gonna go through it. So first of all, Entendre gets close to dead, but that's okay because she lives, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. Rowan gets kind of low, and then what happens is we get bombed, and then we basically lose there. Okay. I'm wondering if potentially, if we don't win, maybe Coco will be better. And I'm not 100% sure what'll happen here. We are holding our ground, which is great. Like, we're not dying for a little while. We're doing decent damage to the healer. Hopefully we can kill her, which we can't really, is what I'm noticing. We are still healing, which is also great. But it looks kind of like a loss here. So let's try to figure it out. And by figure it out, I mean we're going to swap Vala for Coco. And then leave it at that. And this should be good enough. Is my guess, at least. Let's see. So Rowan gives energy, Smokey heals, Lucio once again does the entanglement, and then Coco's gonna give some damage reduction and some much needed support. Rowan unfortunately dies. I'm not sure if we could do this, but you know, we tried our best. We're 40k battle power below where we should be, and although it is a loss, we pushed up 80 stages. To put it simply, we pushed up 80 stages. So first of all, it works, and it will push you insanely hard. I could probably push harder than this. Something to note is also that we get faction bonuses, which is great. They do too. Yeah, so we won, and now I get to summon my rewards while we do the outro, and hopefully that will be fun. To end off with one of these. We're gonna pop this. I do not expect to get anything. I'm nowhere near pity, but I like ending off on summons just because for this game it's very hard to say them. Summon video coming soon, by the way. That is an insane amount of A tiers. I'm very happy with that. Coco is great. These three are not bad, but Coco is the main highlight there. So now we could we get one step closer to improving the team I just showed you guys. So that's pretty hype. But anyways, that is enough for this video. Use the team if you have the units for it. It will help you. As you saw, I was winning fights with 40,000 power less than I should be. And it's so good. Everyone's using it. So I highly recommend hopping on that train. Thanks for watching. That's all from me. Destined signing out.